Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Unbelief is. Unbelief says, I won't believe no matter what you do. You see, why was God so tough on the Pharisees? You think about it, why was Jesus more brutal with them in respect? Because you know why? He gave them answer after answer to every question that they offered him. To every situation, he always dignified them and he provided a clear answer to them. They saw miracles. They saw things done like never before. But you know what they determined? They wouldn't believe no matter what he did. They refused. They absolutely determined only one thing would they have: destroy him, get rid of him. They would not allow him in any way, shape, or form to become a part of their lives. They had unbelief, and it wasn't unconditional to the people of Israel. Because when God moved in the nation of Israel and he brought the people who had been in captivity in the nation of Egypt, who had suffered, even though they were the lineage of Abraham, while they were suffering in poverty and in slavery to the Egyptians, God came to them. And God revealed himself to them. And God showed them again and again and again just how much they meant to him. God delivers them. And here, even to the midst of the Egyptian people, God attempted to prove himself because he says to the Egyptians, let my people go. But they stubbornly refuse. No matter how much God extends his hands and shows his power, they say, we refuse to let these people go. See, God wanted them to believe as much as he wanted his own people to believe. But they said no. See, unbelief is the only thing God ever condemned. And to the people of Israel, God delivers them with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. They come out of Egypt. They face an ocean. And now the Egyptian army is on their backs looking to annihilate all of them that came out of Egypt. And what does God do? He opens the sea. He delivers them miraculously. And every time they face a challenge, God answers their challenge. They're thirsty. They don't have anything to drink. They're in the wilderness. God makes water come out of a stone. They're hungry. They don't have anything to eat. They complain to God, and God brings manna to them out of nowhere. The water that they run into is bitter, and God turns the bitter water sweet. No matter what the challenge. In fact, from the point that God led the children of Israel out of Egypt, you would think that what he did just delivering them was proof positive that he cared about them. That he was proof positive that he was powerful enough to do anything that they needed him to do. But yet 10 specific challenges they provide to God, and God proves himself through all 10 challenges. And God had told them, I'm leading you out of Egypt, and I'm going to give you an inheritance that I swore to your forefather Abraham. I'm going to give you a promised land, a land that I had given and vowed to Abraham would be yours. And now it is a land flowing with milk and honey, a good place. And so they come to the edge of the promised land. And they choose out 12 spies to go in and take a look at the land. And in the midst of it, the spies come back, all 12 of them, and they bring the report that everything that God had spoken about this land is absolutely true. It is a land that is flowing with milk and honey. It is a land of hills and valleys. And look at the fruit of the land. Look at all this. Everything that God has spoken, truly we have found to be true. But then 10 of them say, But what we found were walled cities. What we found were strong and fierce people. There were giants in the land, and we are but grasshoppers in our eyes. The question mark for me is, where is God in the midst of it? They didn't deliver themselves out of Egypt. They didn't answer any one of those challenges in their own strength that they gave to God. God had proven himself to them again and again and again. But you know what? 2 of the spies stood up and said, listen, God is on our side. He has shown us that we can take this land. Let us pursue it at once. But the crowd voted and they sided with the 10. And they said, we're not going into the promised land. And God said it was because of unbelief that they did not enter the promised land. See, unbelief is just a refusal. No matter what you see, no matter what you understand to be true, you just won't believe it. You see, that's what God deals with. But you see, the subject of hope is transitional. You see, the relationship of faith and hope is like the relationship of courage and fear. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Anybody who has ever done valiant deeds in the midst of war, any soldier, any military man will tell you, I ultimately, definitely feared. But I allowed my courage to master my fear and act anyway. The opposite of courage is cowardice, which is what you won't do anything. But you see, you can believe even in the midst of doubt. You can follow on and pursue, even though you don't know it all. It'll work because it is all right in the midst of doubt to find that God is faithful even when we don't understand.